Vanshita.
Hi, Priyash.
Hi, Vanshita. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me, and lovely to, of course, have your story shared with all our future prospects. The objective of our testimonial, is to mainly let people understand your profile, your story of applying to top programs, in public policy and administration, and what your journey has been, what your background was, and what really would these programs add, how these programs would add value to your career, right? So with that, if you could just start with a small introduction, and then I will ask you a few questions.
Absolutely. So I am Delhi based. I've finished my undergrad from Delhi University, been in the field of public policy advocacy and government relations since the past 3.5 years, and met with the Lilac Buds team last year in 2025, where I decided to start my applications for a master's degree as a natural progression in my career forward.
All right, and if so, what was your bachelor's background? Maybe share that a little bit, and
Yeah.
also any, for your work, right? Like you worked in a couple of companies, a little bit more depth about the kind of policy work that you've taken on.
Sure. So my major in bachelor has been business economics, and which is, as I'd like to explain it, a mix of a BA honors and a BA commerce. And in terms of work, the advocacy was with a company called Chase India, which is Delhi headquartered. Advocacy is exactly what it sounds like. That you advocate for the issues that your clients are facing to government stakeholders, to ecosystem players. This can be state, central government, local urban development bodies, other fellow industry players, research organizations, etc., etc. Had a year and a half there, wherein I worked with some major conglomerates, both Indian and based abroad. Then I moved on to my current role, which is in a startup, and we major in business to government advisory role, wherein we take up our clients and we sort of help them get government businesses contracts, and through this way we guide them in policy interventions and through the complicate and complex ecosystem that India is.
Okay, true. That's what, and you had some really good work. I mean, we will probably have you share those when we talk about the essays, but tell me, when you started looking for professional guidance, what about the initial consultation with us made you feel like Lilac Buds would be a good fit for you?
So going into this, am somebody who likes to plan a lot, probably too in advance. So I knew that I wanted to pursue a master's degree in public policy because I do like the field that I work in. I did not want to pivot. I had certain goals, but the path to reach those goals is something I was not very clear about, which is why I decided that I probably would need a consultant's help in navigating this whole process, because having lived in Delhi all my life, it was fairly daunting, a task to approach this. So with the Lilac Buds, I sort of helped, they sort what structure to the whole problem. They helped me decide with the schools that would be best fit for the career goals that I have, the shortlisting, the courses also, because MPPs and digital policies, the course is called different names across different continents. And
Yes.
yeah, that so we sort of created a roadmap to begin with Lilac Buds.
Good. And I think to make that shortlist, I think we took a good amount of time to make that shortlist in the first place. So you applied to several top schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
LSE, Hertie,
Yeah.
UCL, Georgetown,
Georgetown.
Heinz, Carnegie Mellon, and NUS, right? So apply to all these schools, all mostly all super selective in nature.
Mm-hmm.
What was your takeaway from making this selection? Mainly, what did you learn about it from us in terms of how we went about the selection versus, the information available on the internet? Plus, secondly, what part of the essay development process, right, was very crucial to your storytelling in these applications?
Right. So, uh, the line of work that I am in, 3.5 years, a lot took place. And I did not necessarily see all of them as the super cool achievements. But but the Prayesh actually sort of highlighted them for me, which was very crucial. And once I actually wrote them down, it did seem like, okay, something mattered here. And
No,
those
no, they
shaped
were
my
not. They,
essay
sorry,
development.
sorry, I'll cut you short. They were amazing achievements, honestly. I don't think they're not. If you were underselling them, that was your problem. I think really what they were very strong projects in advocacy for both government and non-government initiatives, and very citizen-focused and
Mm.
nation-focused initiatives. The way you had to highlight them, right? Yeah, you kind of felt it was more matter of fact, and for somebody like me who's a first-time reader, I was like, yeah, man, I mean, how many people get to work on such initiatives? Not a lot, right? Like, these were not like some every nook and corner you get to work on these initiatives. But yeah, please go ahead, share a little bit more on that.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So I was a little bit lucky also getting all of these good projects in. But yes, Lilac, that sort of helped me highlight the areas that were most relevant to these applications. They helped me build a story start to finish and clearly highlight the areas that wherein I made the most progress, the most impact, put number in places where I did not really think about initially. And I think as a result, the short list of university that we created, as you spoke about them, there was Georgetown, there was CMU, LSE, UCL, and then NUS, and then Hertie, which is in Germany. Applied to six of these, and so far, while we're speaking, I have already heard back from four, and four admits in place, and
Four
we.
admits. Yes. Good. So no rejection so far. Touch wood. Let's hope for the other two to come back in your favor as well.
Yes.
So now that storytelling of what I felt was powerful clearly is
Absolutely.
what the admissions team also sees in you, right? So that's important.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah.
And
So,
for the storytelling part, like, let's go back to the SOP and the essay writing piece. Uh, of course, a lot of confusion, how many words to write, what part to focus on. Very standard confusion for most people. Everything, some people have this habit of sharing everything in their life. Some people have a habit of not knowing what to share in their life. What was your real challenge, maybe, and how
I
did
think
you
I
kind
was
of
the
find your answer?
yeah, I think it was the latter, wherein I don't know what to share. Just the things have been happening left, right, and center. Which parts do I share? But yes, I think I, being from this generation, one curse that I approached this problem with was I was taking a little too much help from AI, which Prayesh sort of trained out of me bit by bit, and that was crucial because as I understand, you have to write things on your own, which is a habit I had let gone of, but have taken it back with the essays and yeah. So Prayesh actually really helped me first deciding on what the structure of each essay was going to be, what the start, mid, and end should sound like. I put in a lot of thoughts into it, crossed 2000 words also with the LSE essay at some point. He shortened it down, brought more clarity to it in a way that it made the most impact and sense for an admissions committee to read. And apparently it worked as well, which I'm
No,
very thankful
and more
about.
than that, I'm surprised that you said that I've lost touch with writing, because I know that you wrote a piece for the Times of India
Yes,
after
yes.
Operation
That was
Sindoor,
that
and you
was
were
during the
telling,
applications.
and that was
That
not GPT,
actually,
but that was not
yeah,
GPT for sure, right? So
yeah, yeah,
the fact that I read it and I was like, yeah, this is wonderful. Yeah, I know it's during the application, but you're not out of touch
yeah,
completely with writing,
yeah.
and your
Actually, while
company.
writing the essays, that sort of
uh
motivated me to get back to writing sort of those newspaper pieces
Oh,
as
is
well.
it? Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
that. Okay,
It's
that
like
I didn't
I
know.
can
All
do
right.
this.
Super. Super. Okay, so then that's good that something else also came out. Something more powerful came out of the whole writing process. That's really happy to know. I'm really happy to know that.
Yeah, personal
Uh,
development for sure.
Super. Okay, and so let's You mentioned about your four admits, but what was the reaction on that first admit? I think UCL came in the first one. And
Hmm.
what, right now you're considering joining LSE, most likely amongst the four admits. What is driving you to make that decision primarily? And,
Mhm.
if there were, if these outcomes, what within these outcomes was the most confusing to finally choose something for yourself?
I think another really complicated but very important part of the whole process is the finances, which I'm quite conscious about as, as an individual as well. But also the place and the alignment of the field that I am in with the university's placement in the, on the map. Um, UCL, yes, was the first admit that I got, and it was a moment of truth because till then it was a one-sided conversation that I'm approaching these schools, I'm writing to them, we are writing to them. But that was the first piece that, oh, you made it. Like, oh, so it's still really got real then.
Yeah.
It was a sobering one, but anyway, but then the others also rolled in, and I was quite happy with specifically Georgetown and LSE because these are these huge brand names that we've been hearing and listening about in all these Hollywood movies and all of that that been
Not
consuming
not not
since
just
kids.
Hollywood movies, but yeah, I mean, of course, people go there
Yes, yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
super
absolutely. They've
super
been,
doing super well for themselves. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
it's the opportunity and the network that these universities can
Mhm.
open up for you is what I think most applicants are really very excited about, right?
They're
They're
the
they're
global
very
hubs, both London and
yeah.
Washington. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And that I
Specifically in
think
the
is
field, yeah.
I mean, when you told me the day I heard you got to Georgetown, I was like, ooh, this is where you really had made it. And I was like, that really made my morning, when the news comes in from an applicant saying I've made it
Mhm.
into one of the most super selective programs in the world in general.
Yeah.
It tells you that you are not just one amongst the many or one amongst a million in that sense. In terms, not a
Hmm.
million, but like you get the answer, because how selective these schools get and the kind of people whom they are looking for.
Yeah.
And they believe in you more importantly. And that the fact that somebody else believes in us is itself a big boost to our future plans. Right? It doesn't
Yes.
immediately it tells us also that we are able to add value to
Hmm.
the people and to the business and to the
It's a
economy
confidence
or to the
booster for
to
sure.
the decision making in the larger sense. Cool. So good. That's useful information. Thank you for that. Uh, now today, if I had to ask you, and final question would be, looking back, if there was anything that you would have done differently about these applications, and if somebody's today looking to apply to a public policy program or a international relations program or anything similar, what is one piece of advice that you would leave them with in terms of how they should think about their plans, their aspirations, their dreams,
Mhm.
and actually, take the next leap of faith in terms of applying as well?
I think two things. One is stop procrastinating. It's never the right call. I was supposed to do this 2 years ago, but,
Okay.
but now that I actually just take that first step and everything will start sort of falling in place, and
Mhm.
you'll get there eventually. Which is I'm still getting there. My eventual is yet to
Mhm.
come, but already so much has happened, and I wouldn't say it was a breeze, but it's you keep moving forward with these applications, and they'll come around. And the second one, a more practical piece of advice would be, I think it's important to look at the structure and the contents that the degree is going to offer you. It needs to align, which is something I did with the Fresh quite deeply and discussed at length. All of the degrees, they have different core teachings that they're going to sort of push through, areas that they like, they'll focus, and they need to align with your interest and your aspirations. It's quite important. I'm still my choices with the LSE or Georgetown being in my top two amongst all of the admits that I have is strongly, um, you know, driving on the alignments that I have with them.
Alignment with the core curriculum and the style of teaching and the immersions and the
Kind of
experiences also
teaching,
that the
yes,
school
yes.
will offer there as well, right? Absolutely. And spending time on that because a lot of people go by headline names without knowing whether the curriculum
Yeah.
also
I think we spent a good
fits their
1 month
need.
on this.
1 month. Yeah, I mean, you are very meticulous, man. You had like some Excel sheets, and I used to look at your Excel sheets, and I'm like, there's so many columns. I only care about these four, five. But like, you made columns after columns in that Excel sheet,
Yeah.
and I'm like, some of these are not for me. I'm just going to let Vanshita do all the reading on those because I mean, looking at that depth of each subject or each element was not really my
Yeah, yeah.
early decision making process. My early decision making process was like what does she like? Where do we think she can get in? Are we balancing the dream reach mix, right? Like dream schools and reach schools in
Yeah.
realism as well. Because the reason why we did UCL was, LSC may or may not, depending on the cohort intake size and the competition, may or may
So
not
many
offer you.
factors.
And UCL gives you that same advantage of being in the same place and being close to the action, which was why
Hmm.
UCL came in first, right? Like, and they generally offered you a position first as well because they would have liked to lock you down. But then LSE and Georgetown and all came reasonably in quick succession. Only these
Yes.
couple are left for mid-March to come back to you. But until
Hmm.
then, I mean, the major element for me is finding the right fit is not just a exercise in looking at ranks and just saying, we've got many applicants and families who will come to us and say, I want to apply to top 15, but like, okay, what's the logic? Like, there's no logic, but I'll just apply to top 10, top 15. And
Hmm.
I think I have the score or I have the marks. But sometimes if you are a guy who's looking or a girl who's looking to get into finance career and you're not near the hubs of London, New York, Chicago, or something similar, you can't be in Texas and try to start finding finance roles. It's the same thing in your in policy world, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I respect many other schools that are there, but if those schools don't have access opened up the way a Georgetown or a LSE could, that would also matter in the longer run. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we are paying top dollar and large amount of money in order to take the education of these schools. It's not just the education, but already paying for access as well, indirectly through those fees. So
Yeah.
it
It's an
needs to work in your
investment.
favor. Yeah, it's an
Hmm.
investment, absolutely. All right, wonderful, Vanshita. Thank you for so candidly sharing the story. Any final words? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up here.
Um, I think this is a very up and coming field, and I hope people find their way to lilac buds a little more than not, because
Thank
my
you.
experience has been great here, and I have nothing but honestly praises for the team.
All right, thank you, thank you, Vanshita. Lovely last words. Appreciate you giving the time again today. Yeah, bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.